Om Mama Zakra Yarandu Zarawandu Randa Randandu Mamandu Bezoa Om Mama Zakra Yarandu Zarawandu Randa Randandu Mamandu Bezoa Om Mama Zakra Yarandu Zarawandu Ranza Ranzandu Mamandu Bezoa.
All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who obstacles on my path of liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. All mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors, so create obstacles on my path of liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them. Most precious Bodhi, all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path of liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Thus, until I achieve Buddha, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I engage in virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, most excellent, I take refuge until Bodhi is reached. By the merit of generosity and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all wandering beings. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness. The causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering, may they never be separated from the happiness that is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, self-attachment, and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, have happiness, and the causes of happiness, may they be liberated from suffering, and the causes of suffering, may they never be separated from the happiness free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them. State of the most perfect and precious Bodhi. Lord Vajradhara Tilipa Naropa Marpa Milarepa Gampopa Pamodrupa Jikten Sumgön. Venerable Root Guru possessing the three kindnesses, root and lineage gurus, idams, dharmapalas, pray please bestow blessings on my mind stream. Unequal refuge, ornament of the world, whose renown pervades the 3,000 worlds, the undisputed conqueror Vajradhara. I pay homage to you, the Father Jikten Gonpo. You alone are continually on my mind. Compassionate One, please grant your blessings, dispel the darkness of my mind. Please bless me to realize the mind free from elaborations. Hung on the northwest border of the land of Udayana, in the heart of a lotus flower, endowed with the most marvelous attainments, you are renowned as lotus born, surrounded by many hosts of darkinis. Following in your footsteps, I pray to you, come inspire me with your blessings, Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. In the Dharma Dhatu palace of Akarnishta is the essence of the Buddhas of the three times, who directly reveals my mind as Dharmakaya. O Rune Guru, at your feet I supplicate. Dorje Nel Jurma Keji Sewe Jisu Du Jikten Sumgön Rana Shri Tukur Anshin Jindu Shu Tuge Sabam Pam Yele Ram Ram Kam Tru Senam Gen Ma Da Ge De Ma Kunjang Shin La Yang A Hong Ye Tru Chu Se Ngu Bo Sa Me Ge Ye She Du Se Rang Shin Chen Nam Par Su Su Rik Tun Se Pa Ye Tong Sung Kang Wat Gyu Om Ma Hong Om Ma Hong Om Ma Hong Nama Sarva Tata Gate Bhayo Bisha Muge Besarva Takang Ungate Saparana Hemanga Gana Kang Soham Nama Sarva Tata Gate Bhayo Bisha Muge Besarva Taka Ungate Saparana Hemanga Gana Kang Soham Nama Sarva Tata Gate Bhayo Bisha Muke Vyasarva Taka Ungate Sabarana Hemanga Gana Kang Soham. Shin Yene Lungi Drupa Ye Make Selso Sangwe Kyu Gorde Jinten Shisu Sowe Tensuni Yeshe Lela Trupe Dagi Ma Gadan Damla Nebe Sungma Chu Chuki Yingle Gyume Kutu Pong Yeshe Jikten Susen Chukuche Tudam Gyugu Nerde Shiku Namka Tingsang Yu O Barvelo Kepar Mule Tinda Tedumne Jesen Jimmo Achi Nanangza Rage Duba Duje Shisu Yeshe Yingle Gyume Kutuba Ledang Yeshe Damse Wangela Rang Rang Ring Tung Gyawe Densun Jir Shige Wanda Kodan Cheba Nam Nyauju Dungwe Ngaro Du Do Bodze Chube Yamo Lingse Ling Chutrin Sandu Dunzi Gyasu Gyu Damsa Nerde Damse Sama Zan Zan Hom Ham Ho Ala La Ho E Bhagavan Akarashaya Samaya Cha Kodan Cheba Gu Raran Tumbe Tenla Gebar Shu Ngochu Yichu Chutin Gyatsu Gyu Longa Yisu Gube Chase Ringinelo Gyapo de Duso Sanshin Sakarke Sanje Jinje Drajuna Sapa Zebe Mulam Gi Deshe Dagi Dungundum Dering Lala Sanju Bu Juge Rashade Jedan Binsan Sanshin Da Ke Nyamon Sewe Menjo Natsoda Dazarin Jen Pudang Agaru Jenden Karma Dresan Duruka Shubha Dalin Taspa Lazo Ge Shina Duzi Dinden Tamjedan Chema Okum Zato Nazo Ge Tudu Dinla Tibe Sanjudi Tsawa Gyube Padhe Lama Idam Diao Jo Dam Dorje Neo Gorje Insun Somo Yinju Jogi Do Leki Kandro Yeshe Kandro Ma Tamse Kandro Wangi Kandro Ma Satse Soje Troje Ma Sumsa Ama Ningu Suge Budindan Tenle Dromo Mamo Kodanje Shaza Mana Tongi Sonamdang Namamo Kandro Malu Tamje Sangri shagi surbu dambana chomo dashi seyi wanjuma lame riksin chinga chamde dan tema juni kodang jepa san dacha damde nyaju drupabu Hobe la dang gyu gi sume tso ka gyu tenpa rinchen sun se bara sha she sungma kya su sang gi chu la dang da la po gyu dam de dan nyam de kun de no de don de mye roba jin ne drip dan ten sho sho min sang gyung kun sang gi da gyu ne de ta san zhu chao ga san mo ye la sung ge xing nyam cha su gyu ne par chu mi tun gen kun shi wa dang pun sung san pa chu shin zhu par sho ge de ring la sung pang tu du chu ki zhu me u pang tu den zen jin nang san wa ye chu ki zhu me u pang tu ju jin du gu na chu ki chu ki zhu me u pang tu mo gu do yang ro mo ye chu ki zhu me u pang tu nga dang cha kya din sing ge chu ki zhu me u pang tu zi be se mo le to wa chu ki zhu me u pang tu ni de se o le se wa chu ki zhu me u pang tu yi shin no bu dar ge wa chu ki zhu me u pang tu yar ge gya zu dar ge ba chu ki zhu me u pang tu kyo de mi nu byo ge jir chu ki zhu me u pang tu chen shu kyung shin don zhum jir chu ki zhu me u pang tu zung ma mi dang ma de shi kur de den yo no ju ge tu jin byo yong pun tsu gun de ring da gi yan du len cha yang gya zo shin du kyo ma tu che ge nam ge ning po den pa rin chen so den sen byo ge den pa ro so da cha mi nor ko je la shi la da shi long ju be je se da cha chung gun do ka me go ka de no so te yun dong gu lun ru so ma zra sa do za ma ya ma no ba la ya ba za za do de no ba do da do do Sanje Guru Rinpa Janga Kunda Deva Jimpa Shungpa Je Kunsa Dudu Drapo Sa Sowa Dapso Jenje Lam Du Sa Jena Sangwe Baje Shiva Dang Samba Lan Che Dubra Jenje La Disun Sanje Guru Rinpa Janga Kunda Deva Jimpa Shungpa Je Kunsa Dudu Drapo Sa Sowa Dapso Jenje Lam Du Sa Jena Sangwe Baje Shiva Dang Samba Lan Che Dubra Jenje La Disun Sanje Guru Rinpa Janga Kunda Deva Jimpa Shungpa Je Kunsa Dudu Drapo Sa Sowa Dapso Jenje Lam Du Sa Jena Sangwe Baje Shiva Samba Lonje Dubra Jeje Zan Sanje Guru Rinpa Janga Kunda Deva Jimpa Shungpa Je Kunsa Dudu Drapo Sa Sowa Dapso Jenje Lam Du Sa Jena Sangwe Baje Shiva Dang Samba Longe Dubra Jenje Lam Du Zan Sanje Guru Rinpa Je Ngadu Kunda Deva Jimpa Shungpa Je Kunsa Dudu Drapo Sa Sowa Dapso Jenje Lam Du Sa Jena Sangwe Baje Shiva Dang Samba Longe Dubra Jenje Guru Rinpoche, Buddha of the 3 times great bliss, source of all siddhis, wrathful subduer of maras, who removes all obstacles, grant your blessings, we pray. Through them may all obstacles, outer, inner, and secret, be quelled, and may all our aspirations be fulfilled. Sublime, precious, venerable, and glorious root and lineage gurus, assembly of Idam deities, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas dwelling in the 10 directions, and all assemblies of Viras, Viranis, Yoginis, and Dakinis, please heed me. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and the inherent root of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly dharmas, the 4 causes of samsara, and the resultant states of hearers and solitary realizers, and may all mother sentient beings, limitless as the sky, particularly those enemies who hate us, obstruct us, who harm, those who create obstacles, maras who mislead, and their mara retinues, have happiness, be separated from suffering, and quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect and precious Bodhi. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may we benefit sentient beings with body, speech, and mind. May the afflictive thoughts of attachment, aversion, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind stream. May thoughts of name, fame, gain, respect, and so forth in this life not arise for even a moment. With my mind stream moistened by love, compassion, and bodhicitta, may I come under the care of virtuous spiritual friends, and having become as limitless as space, may I achieve the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life by the virtues collected in the 3 times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi. Now page 89. Moreover, knowing how to attain excellent results through the creation of subtle causes is what is called profound insight. For example, and so these examples are drawn from like stories from the life of the Buddha, or the life of previous lifetimes of the Buddha, where from there you can see how the Buddha or other Buddhas, by doing certain things, by encouraging this or that person to do it this way or that way, great results arise. So a pure Buddha field can be obtained by sweeping an area that is just a person's measure in the courtyard commonly used by the Sangha. And so here is a reference to a case where a monastic, a courtyard commonly used by the monastic sangha, and knowing that by sweeping that area, and even as limited as a person's measure. 163 here says, Gogang indicates an area with sides the length of one's body, height, or arm span, since height and arm span are approximately equal. And so even sweeping as small as that size of an area that is frequented and used by the Sangha can result in the creation of a Buddha field. And so we hear a lot about different Buddhas and their pure fields, their pure lands, the qualities of the pure land, and so on and so forth. Right? So all those qualities, and the qualities that this Buddha or that Buddha has in particular, like Dara, the quality of swift and efficient activity, Amitabha, our special connection to Amitabha and Amitabha's vows, and therefore to Amitabha's Pure Land, all those things are due to these types of past causes and conditions that were put in place through their practices. Now, another example, knowledge of the creation of such a cause is called profound insight. Then also, when the Buddha had Kshudrapanthaka repeat the words, "Abandon is the dirt, abandon are the stains," while sweeping the floor for the 3 summer months. And Kshudrapanthaka actualized the stages of training and arhatship. Now that is known as profound insight. So Kshudrapanthaka is infamous for not having a lot of intelligence, and particularly not having a lot of ability to remember the teachings. And you have to understand, during this time there were no written texts insofar as the teachings are concerned. Everything that was available was whatever you're able to retain and to remember the Buddha has taught. And just kind of imagine, like no books, no text to reference, You cannot just look up this or that as you wish. So Kshudrapanthaka had a real handicap there, because he, first of all, he's not very smart, and second, he cannot, for the life of him, remember anything. So all the other monks and his personal teachers kind of gave up on him and said, hopeless, maybe next life, you can improve your situation. So, but thankfully, luckily, the Buddha told him, you don't worry. Since this rains retreat this summer, you are here with us. So this is what you should do, he says. Here, take that broom. So this is related to sweeping too. He says, the Buddha says, take that broom and sweep this area daily. You just sweep. So at first he just swept, swept clean, the leaves and the dirt, and he just swept clean. After a while, the Buddha told him, as you sweep, you should repeat this in your mind. Abandon is the dirt. And so he did that first. And dirt is like the more obvious of the two. And then after a while, the Buddha said, now you also say, abandon are the stains. And so eventually, mentally, every time, every sweeping moment, he's like, in his mind, abandon is the dirt, abandon are the stains. Abandon is the dirt, abandon are the stains. In that way, quickly his in that summer of 3 months. His heart, mind settled, became steady. He could directly see nature of reality, develop profound insight, and actualize the stages of training, and all the way to arhatship. So here Kyopa says, now this is what we call wisdom. As in the Buddha had this wisdom, has this understanding, can see all the causes and conditions that would be necessary, and what are the past causes and conditions that require that Kshudrapanthaka can overcome the handicap of not being able to remember things, not being able to memorize the teachings. How Kshudrapanthaka can overcome that. So Kyopa says, that is the wisdom we're talking about. Now, of course, I think if we say a little bit more about this, that wisdom, don't come from nowhere. That wisdom does come from earlier trainings in first, right, understanding, theoretically understanding, all things lack self, all things are impermanent, all things are subject to change, all things are unsatisfactory. So it does come from wisdom in that sense, developing clear understanding with regards to that. It does come from like what we're doing now, and wisdom that comes from listening or learning, wisdom that comes from thinking through, contemplating, and the wisdom that comes from putting what we have thought, what we have trained in, into practice, letting it seep into our minds. It does kind of build up from there. But his point here is not that those types of quote-unquote wisdom, or studying Shantideva, chapter 9, or Nagarjuna's treatises, he's not saying that those things have no role to play, but that the wisdom that arises from there isn't really yet the wisdom that we're talking about here, when we say that Buddhas have perfected the accumulation of wisdom and the accumulation of merit or skillful means. That Buddhas have perfected skillful means through an accumulation of merit. Buddhas have perfected profound insight to the accumulation of wisdom. He says, and when we say Buddhas have perfected profound insight through an accumulation of wisdom, what are we talking about? We're talking about wisdom that has real application in helping others. So in this way, it's not unfair to say for Kyopa then, skillful means and profound insight are not so different. Means or methods are skillful only if they are based on and informed by wisdom, by insight, right? By understanding. And insight or wisdom or understanding is only truly wisdom, truly insight, if that understanding can be channeled to do something positive in the world. Otherwise, it's just, a lot of blah, blah, blah. Another example of profound insight as the knowledge of creating subtle causes, the knowledge, the ability to create subtle causes for great results, is King Mandhatri. He was a grain merchant by birth and made an offering of 4.5 peas to the Tathagata with Pashin. As a result, in the next birth, he became king of 4.5 of the gods' realms. I see that the recording just started. So we should take from Facebook, not this half recording, then we'll be missing a whole bunch of things. And ultimately, he attained Buddhahood. And this is what we call profound insight. Again, the knowledge that Buddhahood is accomplished through practicing generosity with the intention of bodhicitta is what is called profound insight. But although the practice of generosity might also accomplish aspirations, which is related to the aspirations informed by the 8 worldly concerns, or the states of gods and humans in the next life, or the states of hearers and solitary realizers, that is not what we call profound insight. Yeah, so those intentions and understandings that are based on, driven by 8 worldly concerns. So in Atisha's terms of the 3 spiritual capacities, this is not even the lesser capacity yet. This is the pre-Dharma practice persons who are, to the degree that they engage in virtue, to the degree that they engage in generosity, it is out of 8 worldly concerns. And immediate gratification, immediate satisfaction. Then you enter the lesser capacity. You are now evolved into lesser capacity as a person who is turning towards the Dharma. When you think in terms of not just this life, not the 8 worldly concerns of this life, but for the longer term happiness. So rebirth as gods and humans, expressed in this way, in future lives. Then the states of hearers and solitary realizers are the goals for those with the middling capacity. But he says, all these are not what we call profound insight. There's no need to elaborate further on this, since the whole pattern can be understood from one example. Understand this in the same way as the examples of hardwood and reed. Footnote: the idea is that from being shown a piece of hardwood, someone can understand by extension what any hardwood is like, i.e. solid. Likewise, from being shown a piece of reed, someone can understand by extension what all reeds are like. So apparently Gampopa used this expression. So here, there's no need to elaborate further, but if we were to elaborate further, which we will elaborate further here, he says, it's only profound insight when it's the insight and the understanding and the intention that is motivated based on an understanding of why it is important to strive for Buddhahood. And not just be guided by the 8 worldly concerns for this life, not just be guided with a concern for future lifetimes, to ensure good future lifetimes. Not enough to be guided by, I want to be free from samsara myself, but only if I want to be free from samsara in order to be able to free others from samsara. That is what ensures that then our practice of generosity, or whatever good that we are doing, we are engaging in, becomes then a cause for Buddhahood. One of the causes for Buddhahood, one of the conditions for Buddhahood. Skill and methods is thus to be governed by relative bodhicitta while gathering the accumulation of merit. And profound insight is skill in methods for causing the non-abiding minds of yourself and others to abide. The fluttering, the moving, the unstable minds of yourself and others to abide, and so forth. They do not exist externally either. So meaning, outside of this, there's nothing else. So upaya, or skillful means, has to be informed or guarded, or here says governed by relative bodhicitta while gathering the accumulation of merit. And profound insight. What is profound insight? Here very explicitly he links it to skillful means. He says, it is skillful means for causing the mind to become steady, to become settled, to become stable. All phenomena encompassed by samsara and nirvana are your own mind, because those phenomena and the inner mind are one in being primordially birthless emptiness. So now he's summarizing his teaching for that day, for the seventh day. All experiences, all things, whether you put them under the column of samsara or you put them under the column of nirvana, whether you think of them as bondage or you think of them as freedom, all of it are your own mind. Because what your inner mind is doing, which is perceiving, and what it perceives, both are primordially, meaning innately, meaning naturally. You don't need to do anything about it. They are birthless. Birthless is another way to also say space-like. So space-like, cause and effect. We say birthless because we don't want to say don't exist. Don't exist whatsoever. It's not the case that it doesn't exist whatsoever. To say it's birthless is to say somehow, right, it appears. But it's birthless. Its nature is birthless. Its appearance, of course, temporarily, it has the aspect of being born, as in coming into existence, abiding, and when conditions are gone, dissolving, disappearing. Yeah, so on the relative level, for sure, things appear at a certain point. That's birth. Abide, hang around for a little bit, and then it's gone, die. But its nature is birthless. Meaning its nature is empty. Meaning its nature is space-like. As in space, you cannot say, oh, this is the beginning of space. This is the middle of space. This is the end of space. Although, within space, we can say. oh, first, when this person turned up. First, this person turned up here. Then this person was around here for a little bit. Then she went that way. So that we're quite familiar with. Well, he came from this way, and then he was here for a little bit. Then he went that way. So there is the appearance, there is the abiding, and then there is the passing away. But the nature of this is birthless. And the mind that perceives this happening is also birthless. This is what we have to realize and stabilize this understanding. Steady the heart by understanding this. Space like cause and effect is one expression used. The dependent origination that is free from the 8 extremes, that is primordially free from the 8 extremes, and the dependent origination that is cause and effect. The Kagyu elders explained that the mind is primordially birthless, like the center of the sky, as in like sky, like space. You cannot say, this is beginning, this is middle, this is end. But because of space, we're able to say, first the person came from this direction, then the person was over here, then the person went in that direction. Since this is so, please take this to heart like that, and this is the teaching. Yeah, so today I think we will stop here and now start the next section. But tomorrow we will start the 8th teaching. And then, with the 8th teaching, after that, we may have to stop, right? Because one of the sections in the 8th teaching is, when is one ready to transmit the Dharma? Only when you can meditate in the way described above are you ready to begin to teach the Dharma and to become a master to others. If you lack that ability, you're not ready to work for the benefit of others. And so then, when we finish the next teaching, it might mean that I have been fired by Jikten Sumgön. So we shall see. Not sure yet what HR is going to decide. It says very clearly, when you should be teaching others. Not when you have completed, for sure not when you have completed, a teacher's training course for Dharma teachers. So there. Changju sem chorim poje ma ge ba nam ge gyurje ge ba nyam ba me ba yang go ne Shom. Okay, goodbye all of you. Maybe see you this evening if you're participating in Drikung Dhamma Kirti. Otherwise, see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.